Hey, One Pint Stand listeners. For the first time ever, I'm recording a podcast in front of a live studio audience. The show will take place this Friday, March 21st at 7 p.m. up at Forgotten Star Brewing in their event space in friendly Fridley, Minnesota. My guests for the evening will be Doug Hoverson, the author of Land of Amber Waters, The History of Brewing in Minnesota, Bill Lindeke, the co-author of Closing Time, Saloons, Taverns, Dives, and Watering Holes in the Twin Cities, and Chris German, a regional sales manager for RAR BSG. The event is free for everyone, and you can secure your tickets at eventbrite.com. Go ahead and just search up Forgotten Star Brewing Events, and it will be listed. If you show up and you don't have an Eventbrite ticket, that's okay. The doors will open at 7 p.m., and I press record at 7:30. Now, if you happen to be a Patreon supporter, your first beer is free. I'd love to see you and as many friends as you want to bring there. This will be a fantastic night of beer history, and you're guaranteed to learn a ton about why Minnesota is more than just flyover country when it comes to beer. Cheers. You are listening to a One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast that tells the stories of craft beer in Minnesota and beyond. So kick back, relax, and grab a cold one. The show starts now. Hello, my name is Dan Bobian, and I write, produce, and host a One Pint Stand. I'm ecstatic that you're listening. This episode of a One Pint Stand is proudly sponsored by Bumbling Fool's Mead, a fabulous and cozy meadery located in the heart of Northeast Minneapolis that serves balanced and complex meads. Check them out. On this episode of A One Pint Stand, I got my friends Josh Denny and Jessi Storms together to tell me all about their beer odyssey to Europe. I love hearing about people's travels. I also have enjoyed getting to know them both over the years because they are some of the kindest and most easygoing people you could ever hope to meet. Their trip consisted of stops in Amsterdam, Cologne, Prague, and Pilsen. Their trip was a mixture of spending time with family and adventuring on their own. So let's head up to Heavy Rotation Brewing for my beer chat about Josh and Jessi's Beercation to Europe. Cheers. Okay. Hey, we're here for another on-location episode of a One Pint Stand. My name is Dan Bobian, and I'm your host, and we're up here at Heavy Rotation in the Northern Burbs, and I'm being joined by my two friends, Josh and Jessi, to talk about how to plan a beer trip to Europe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you both for inviting me in on a Friday, and we're here. The sun is shining, and it's a little afternoon, and we've got some really fancy, fun beers to drink, and I love traveling for beer,
Yes.
whether it's to my basement or
Beautiful basement.
to hop in the car and drive the 13 and a half minutes to bad weather or drive the just hair under half hour to get here. Sometimes I'll travel for beer in a car, leave the state. Sometimes I'll get in a plane. I have never traveled for beer across the pond. And when I found out you both were doing a really fun beer trip, I thought, well, who better to talk about how to plan a European beer travel adventure than you two, because you had planned, done it, reflected, and now you're here to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've done our own, like regional beer trips around here as well. And so it's just doing it on a completely different scale.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the beer travel and how to plan, we've got a lot here to talk about. Do you want to each say kind of your names, your craft beer affiliations, and then how did you two meet? I guess I don't know. the look of shock and surprise on their faces. Just to give the listeners some context about the trip and just kind of like how you both found your way to craft beer and then to each other.
I think it was to each other, and then that's how I got into craft beer more
There you
than
go.
anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I already had a pretty big hold on craft beer in my life at that point, being a brewer and everything. But
Yeah.
maybe you start with your backstory of
Yeah.
working.
Well, we met on the internet, like most people do these days, and Josh was just kind of getting into like his head brewer position at that point, so he kind of introduced me to craft brewing on a different level than I was familiar with, and that was like 7-8 years ago,
Something like that.
something like that, and you know, I mean, we would hang out, we would go on trips. We just started planning, you know, weekend trips to Fargo or to Rochester. But that was just one of the things that we would do. We would go on dates and hang out and try beer. And he taught me a lot. And he helped me kind of learn about like just tasting beer and the ingredients. And I still ask him, I'm like, okay, but why this? And how did this happen?
And then also bartending at Udapils for a significant amount of time.
Right. I was getting there.
All right.
But yeah, then COVID happened, and I, you know, kind of fell into a job brewing with, or not brewing, bartending with Udapils, and was there for 3 years or so, and got to know a lot of people in the beer industry sort of through working there. Got to learn a lot through working there, and I think I already had a good, you know, base of knowledge, which I think helped me obviously get the job there, and I really enjoyed doing that. I really like talking about beer, to like tasting beer, you know, and the communal aspect of enjoying a pint with somebody.
Yeah.
And especially across the bar, like as a bartender, that was just really fun because you got to meet so many different people and just like learn little blips of their stories and things.
Yeah.
So I'm always been very drawn to people, and I think the aspect of, you know, the beer community and beer industry is, you know, we are very interested in one another as well, and so I think it's the tying those things together for me.
Well, and I think there's something really cool about, you know, the big thing about craft beer. I mean, it does a lot of things. It's helped local kind of smaller towns kind of stand out to other people. You know, once a brewery pops up somewhere, I'm like, oh, I've never been there. Let's go check it out. But at its core, I think you mentioned it being a very communal beverage. Mm-hmm. Beer does a great job of bringing people together to, you know, center around one passion that we all have in common, but then you get to know people. And I think drinking beer is also a very communal activity and should be done, because you'll learn so much from the person next to you about what they taste, whether they're a head brewer like you, Josh, or just like some teacher goofball like me that likes to talk about it. But I always appreciate tasting the same beer with other people to find out, well, what are you getting from it? What are you getting from it?
Well, and that's people who don't drink a lot of beer end up having a lot of sometimes better perspectives on what it is, where they'll say a flavor that you might not normally hear in a beer tasting book or something like that, where it's like, oh, I get like a hint of Cocoa Puffs or something, but that's not like in a guideline kind of description, but everyone knows what that thing is, and it's a great description where people, no matter like who it is, they're like, oh, I've had that, I know what that tastes like, and that's really relatable. And that's where like everyone can drink beer and kind of talk about it, whether maybe you don't like a certain style, but you can at least kind of say what it does taste like. And
well, I think there's so many different like sensory memories that we all have. Like you said, Cocoa Puffs. Say that, I know exactly what you're talking about. Fruity Pebbles.
Skittles.
And then like sometimes like if you read like style guidelines, which, you know, BJCP puts out style guidelines for every beer style, and it gives you kind of like what it should taste like. And sometimes, unfortunately, beers will have off flavors. And one of the off flavors that I can never pick up, that I was like, could never understand, it was DMS.
Sure.
And somebody told me like, okay, think of what black olives taste like in your head, and then take a smell of this beer and then take a sip of it. And I was like, oh,
interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that
that's
one.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ever since then, I'm like, oh, that's a That's my tie-in to that, because it's almost unfair to say like, well, this off flavor is this. Now, if you've never experienced what that waypoint is, you're not going to pick up that off flavor.
Yeah.
So,
And I always liked that. That was one of the things that I really liked when I was bartending, was trying to figure out a way to communicate with people in a way that made sense. Because, you have these, like this terminology that not everybody is equipped with. And so having a way to communicate with them in a way that's like, oh, okay, I understand, that this is either a good thing or a bad thing, or, I can get a better idea of what you like about this.
yeah.
But I don't have to use this specific, the BJCP, et cetera, flavor kind of guidelines and things.
Yeah. And I think that mindset of a bartender trying to meet the patron halfway is a big part of why a lot of people really enjoy craft beer.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you run into somebody behind the bar that just doesn't have time for that, that's where the term beer snob comes from, and they're like, oh, craft beer is kind of this exclusive thing. And it's like, I think most breweries do a nice job of really kind of putting forth that, like, okay, you never know when somebody coming in, maybe this is their first interaction with craft beer. So, like, definitely, like, make them feel welcome, and, like, have it be a conversation, not so much of a transactional, like, relationship.
Yes.
And I think that Udapils does that well. Certainly Heavy Rotation does that well. You mentioned that you do a lot of beer travel on the weekends locally, and then you've been all around. What are some of the noteworthy trips that you've been on?
For my birthday, we went to North Dakota.
Yep.
Camping.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
That was really cool. And they have a park in Fargo, like in
Just outside downtown.
just outside
Fargo,
downtown,
right
that you
off
can
the
camp at.
river.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
nice.
Kayaked on the river, and it was cool.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not huge, and you're definitely, you kind of feel like, oh, I'm still in the city, and a lot of people are there with campers, but, we threw a tent up for the weekend, and it was a cheaper way to stay, and I think it was also like 2021, I think, either 2020 or 2021, when COVID was still a thing, so we were trying to stay away from people
sure.
as much as possible. And I think that was also played a part of it. It was like, all right, we're trying to have some sense of normalcy, some, spend some time with one another and celebrate your birthday and do something fun, but also do that safely.
Yeah.
And we really, all of COVID, we were trying to make a point to, especially when businesses were closed, we were trying to make a point to go to places,
Right.
As we were able to. So I think that one was really cool because, we camped, we went to Drecker, we did Junkyard, we did Drunken Wrath.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
R.I.P. They were in the old Drecker space at that point.
And then on the way home, too, I think we hit a few spots.
Yeah, did a couple of spots on the way home. It was just a...
Yeah. And then the other one, I'd say another camping one, was in Rochester.
Rochester was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, I think, because we like to do other things, right? So we're doing, we're going to breweries, we're going to restaurants, but then we're camping, we're kayaking.
It's like car camping, but just nice tent.
Yeah, nice tent.
Yeah.
A nice
Do you bring the
river.
doggos?
We haven't yet.
Okay.
They're maniacs, and
so.
I don't know how that would go.
It's supposed to be a vacation for us.
Yeah, exactly. And they're bed dogs, and I just don't think like dirty camp dogs in my bed when I'm camping and sleeping bag area.
Oh, sure.
It's just probably not the vibe.
Yeah.
But no, we did, our campsite in Rochester was really beautiful, and so I think just having that balance too, where it's a vacation, it's peaceful, we're doing, activities, and then we get to go and have a couple of beers and go to a restaurant.
Appreciate a brewery a little longer than we normally would, which is nice.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's you can make a day trip to Little Thistle, but then if you're camping down there, you get to have instead of one or two, you get to have 5 or 6.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
Or you can go back the next day because we're there
absolutely.
for 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I don't know why I always, because it's just a little bit over an hour to get down there. I'm like, well, yeah, I'll just go for the day. But then I run into that. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll have 2 here because I can't go to Rochester. without going to Forager.
Yep.
And so, once you're at Forager and Little Thistle, then it's like, okay, am I going to go to Thesis and have one? And it's like, you got to start thinking about getting back. And my friend Marcus did it right. That's where he made his appointment for his COVID vaccine down in Rochester. So he wound up staying the night. So he's like, yeah, I'll just get my vaccine and head over to the brewery. And you're like, oh, genius.
All right.
But yeah, Rochester's a good, nice trip down there. I like camping. Because one time I was like, okay, guys, we can take my tent. It's a big tent. And I put up the rain fly wrong, and then it just it downpoured, and we could not stay in the tent. We had to pick up our stuff and go to this camping shelter, and I guess that there was flooding around there. We went to Mystery Cave Park down in southern Minnesota.
Sure.
And there was flooding, and they apparently closed a bunch of roads, but we had no idea. So we're like, well, we're the only people here, so maybe we can just set up in this camping thing. But they had painted it the day before, so it was just awful. I'm just fever dreams from paint fumes and the stress of the tent and everything, and it was just it was awful. And everybody else was snoring, and I'm like, I'm going to go take a nap in the paint room just because I need some sleep. And it was really weird. And then we got back to town. It was like, why did you stay there? There was flooding. They closed roads, and it was an emergency situation. Oh, well, we had a lovely time in the paint room. I don't know. It was very odd.
We had a lovely time.
We played Outward Bound croquet, where we set up this ridiculous croquet course, and it was just nuts. I think that was the paint that we got into it. But I know that my buddy Charles, he loves to go camping, and they did a thing down to Shells, because there's that state park, and then they just walked into Oktoberfest, and I'm they're do you want to go camping in October? I'm like, no, I do not, because I don't like my
past poor experiences.
Tootsies to get cold. Yeah, I've had some doozy camping experiences, but if I get a new tent, rain flies, but I'm that's ever since then. I don't know why I am so self-conscious of
I could see it
putting
Absolutely.
it up there
Absolutely.
Trauma.
But there are a lot of good spots to camp and then head into town and check out some breweries. Where are some? So you mentioned North Dakota. When did you get the idea to kind of start thinking about traveling
further,
really far away?
So I had been to go back. My dad actually lives in the Netherlands, so that was a big part of us being able to go and to visit him. He's lived there off and on since I was a teenager, and he's been there permanently for the last 8 years or so. And I had been there once 6 years ago, and lots of kind of delays in getting back, and so that was part of it.
Yeah.
It's all right, we need to go visit. It's been a number of years since I've seen him. He probably won't be able to travel back. And so it's on me now to kind of be able to go see him that way. And also it was Josh's 40th birthday. And I was like, well, this is a really great excuse. Since opening Heavy, Josh has not really taken a vacation. He hardly takes time off, and he likes it that way.
Even before that, I think.
You didn't really do that. Even before Heavy, you really didn't take time off or take vacations. We would do these weekend trips, and I think you went out of town here and there for a couple of days. But so I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to buy these tickets. I mean, we had started talking about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, we could probably do that. And then this last spring, I was like, I'm just going to buy the tickets, and then you have to go.
Deal.
I got a good deal on the tickets.
Nice.
And I was like, all right, well, we're going. I'm buying the tickets. We're doing it. But yeah, I mean, it came from the need to see my dad.
Yeah.
And the need to force Josh into taking a bit more time away.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I get that mentality of just oh yeah, you're in charge of a lot of moving parts, and sometimes it's difficult to step away, but also your passion for beer. I think when you travel for beer, you learn so much, and you just feel I think it inspires creativity.
Oh,
like,
absolutely,
really
yeah.
kind of like, oh, this beer is so crazy. I've never had anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do this?
Or this is the way this is supposed to actually be, and
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. And also, it made me really enjoy traveling. Like just not doing it, I didn't know how much fun it would be. And,
Yeah. So I want to talk about airfare because I know that there's like trying to find a deal on airfare is really difficult. Was there, were you pretty open? I guess when people are thinking about like international beer travel, one of the things is like, okay, sometimes the airfare can be really cost prohibitive. How far ahead did you start looking for airfare? And was there kind of like a spot where you're like, oh, it dipped? This is like really good.
Yeah. So, a few things that we thought about before we even were looking at the airfare specifically was when we were going, because tourist season in the areas that we were looking, just kind of in general in Europe, is sort of more like summertime.
Yep.
And then you've got the winter kind of holiday time when it's also a little bit more touristy.
Okay.
And so the first thing that we were looking at was like, okay, let's try to be outside of that time frame because it's going to be more affordable.
Yep.
As much as we were talking about enjoying people, we also wanted to not be around huge throngs of people.
Right.
And be crushed. That can be, for me, a little anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
And so we wanted some space, as well.
less touristy.
Yeah, less tourist season in general. And that also plays a part in how the weather is. So it was okay. When is tourist season? What is the weather like on the off seasons?
Yeah.
And where can we find that balance? Which we wound up. So we went the end of September through early October.
Yep.
And it turned out pretty good. The last time I was there, had been there a little earlier in September. The weather was a little bit nicer, but overall we had fairly decent weather. It was very much like Minnesota in the fall, where we were in particular. We started looking at tickets, and I asked ChatGPT. I said, find me tickets.
That's great.
Like where should I look when this is the time frame that I'm thinking of going? This is about how long I want to go for. And I used that as just like a baseline. And
Sure.
then I started looking for tickets more individually, until I found, okay, these make sense for us. And you got to kind of think about, all right, so when are you leaving? What time of day are you leaving? And then what time of day are you arriving?
Yeah, because it's about an 8 hour.
It's about 8 hours.
Thereabouts? Okay.
Yeah, and so the Minneapolis is great that we have direct international flights to Amsterdam.
Sure. Yep.
And there's a few other like direct European flights now. They're getting more. The last time I went, we didn't have that, so we had a connection through Iceland.
Okay.
So it was about 9.5 hours total travel that particular time, which that would be a great way to do it too. If you want to go to Iceland, stay there for a couple of days and then fly to Amsterdam because the flight's only a few hours.
Yeah.
But we wanted to go direct to Amsterdam, not have any connections, not have to worry about that at that point. So we bought our tickets about 6 or 7 months in advance.
Okay.
And I probably started looking about 2 months before that.
Okay.
And really, depending on how flexible you are, I bought them at that point because I really needed to also start looking at accommodations.
Right.
So I wanted to know we're going to be there. And
Right, yeah.
especially because we're bopping
Lock it in,
around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like, if you're flexible on accommodations and there's other things within your trip that are flexible, you could even wait a little bit longer because the flight, the cost does dip down a little bit, a little bit closer to when you're probably going to be traveling.
Sure.
But that's the advice that I've gotten. My dad's done a lot of traveling, so he's given me a lot of good advice,
Sure.
and that's, typically where I've learned kind of how and when to start looking.
Yeah.
But ChatGPT, man.
Okay, that's so crazy because like ChatGPT in my world is like the devil because I'm a teacher, kids are using it
for
to
sure.
do stuff, but I'm like, oh yeah, I forget that there are also many positive uses for this technology. Now, before we go any further, I realize we've got glasses full of this like goldenrod, almost very beautiful beer in front of us. So what is this beer?
It is a smoked peach bourbon sour from Two Chefs Brewing. and they're in Amsterdam.
Okay.
It was probably one of our favorite spots in Amsterdam for craft beer.
Yeah.
They had a lot of really good styles, a lot of things that were really on point, we thought.
And it was
food,
one of the
too.
more modern breweries that we went
Yeah,
to, I think,
absolutely.
in terms of style, you know.
Oh, wow. Well, that's good.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how the smoke is very muted, comes in like almost at the end to kind of balance out that initial tartness from the peach.
Yeah.
That's really, really yummy.
Yeah. I like how subtle the smoke is on it because it's present, but it's not overpowering. And it has that tartness, but it's not, it's also not an aggressive heartburn sour.
Yeah.
Gives you kind of that grilled peach character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like almost like dessert, but the smoke kind of gives it just a little bit of savory.
Yeah.
So you mentioned one thing that I find very interesting is like, you know, when you're traveling, at least in the United States, you can be pretty flexible since the advent of like VRBO and Airbnb. You mentioned that you wanted to kind of lock in the fact that you were going to go have those dates so you could kind of start looking for lodging.
Yeah.
What was kind of your approach for where did you want to stay? How did you kind of like figure that out? And then I'm assuming there are similar things like Airbnb and VRBO
Yep.
in Europe.
Yeah. So we used Airbnb for
Okay.
one of our accommodations in Amsterdam, and that was part of the reason we bought the tickets because we wanted to stay in a houseboat in Amsterdam. That was
Oh, yeah.
like
I wanted to be on a canal.
Yep. Yeah.
It was awesome.
yeah,
It was super cool.
and they were limited in
Yeah.
terms of what
Sure.
like in terms of finding them, and they were expensive, and so there was a few that we were looking at, and one in particular, it was like, all right, I feel like we got to lock this in or we might miss out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've used Airbnb in the past. That works pretty well. And then they also, you know, there's a lot of hotels, hostels, and my stepmom, my dad's wife, she's Dutch, and so she also helped us in terms of finding a hotel, for example, in Prague, because they'd been there so many times.
Okay.
And they were, she's like, I've stayed here or in this area.
Yeah.
This is where you should stay.
Yeah.
So that was very helpful. But a lot of it is, you know, we're kind of reading reviews. We're deciding, all right, where in terms of the
What
like
sites do we want to see? What
Yeah.
places do we want to visit?
Sure.
Is there a central location kind of near all these things that we could find a room at? And
Yeah. And for example, how are we arriving in that city? So we went to Cologne. We were there for 24 hours, and we went by train from Prague. So when we were looking at accommodations for Cologne, it was like, we need the train station to be very accessible because that's how we're coming and going. And the less time we have to spend traveling to and from the train station on arrival and departure,
Right.
the more time we have to spend in the city.
Yeah.
And they happen to have a hotel literally in the train station, which
Oh,
is
cool.
also
That is awesome.
right outside of the cathedral.
You could see the cathedral almost from our room.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it wasn't very expensive either.
Okay.
You know, it was very reasonable. I think it was $100 a night or something. and
That's not bad.
No.
10 different Kolsch breweries within walking distance, and I think we hit 9 of them.
I think we did 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so, yeah, it's just, okay, what are your priorities?
Yeah.
And how long, like, and how much time do you have? If you have less time, your priorities, you know, and how you're arranging yourself.
Yeah.
You know, those things have to kind of dictate, yeah, like where you're staying and how you're getting there and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we're thinking about traveling internationally, what should people kind of have in their budgetary outline as what you might want to spend? Let's say, because Amsterdam is kind of like a hub where a lot of people fly in, and then kind of they branch out from there. What's the range that you found for airfare?
Yeah, I mean, so I think our tickets were around 800. Last time I went, they were around the same. I actually found them for less this time. Last time we went, they were like closer to 9.
Okay.
And we flew, I think, fairly comfortably at that price point.
Yeah.
In terms of having a direct flight. You could probably fly a little bit cheaper and have some layovers, have some connections. I think I've seen tickets as low as like 6 or 7.
Okay.
And actually, I'm trying to recall now if we were more in that 700 range.
But somewhere in the 600 to 900 range
like
is pretty typical?
Yeah, for
Okay.
if you're looking more on the lower end side of it cost-wise, right?
Sure.
But I've also seen tickets, 12, 13, 1400 for depending on the time of day. Like, so that was a big part of it. I was saying, you have to think about the time of day that you may be flying out from here, for example. The more optimal times, if you're leaving later in the morning, for example, the cost goes up by $50-$100.
Yeah.
So that can make a difference.
Yep.
And I think we were just very cognizant of that, and tried to balance the cost overall with what's going to be comfortable for us. So what's financially comfortable, but I mean, I think you can get away with anywhere, like, again, kind of budget wise, 600-700.
Sure.
If you have more comfortability spending more money, if you're able to, you could get into the $1,000-ish range.
Okay.
And again, time of year really impacts that too. So this is me looking at kind of the off season in the fall.
Sure.
I know the spring, summer are going to be more.
Yeah.
We avoided Oktoberfest on purpose.
Yes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The touristy stuff. And,
Yeah. Like, love the idea of an Oktoberfest. Could be fun in the future. Needed to not do that for, I think, Josh's first trip overseas.
Yeah, that could have been really...
And it was 17 days. It was a long trip, but at the same time, I feel like we would want to spend probably 5 days in Germany alone, whether it's just Munich or
for sure.
wherever. So
Yeah.
like that's,
Hell, you could spend 5 days in one tent during Oktoberfest.
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. So you said you did a mix of hotels and Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Okay. And kind of with the Airbnbs and hotel, you said the hotel in Cologne was like $100. That's not bad.
It wasn't bad.
If you can get a couple of those, and then you can be like, okay, then you don't feel bad about like, okay, there's this houseboat thing that we really want to do, and we'll pay more for that.
Yep.
I just think it's like when people start to think about a trip, they just automatically go to like the overall cost.
Yeah.
Like, how much do we need to spend? But really, if you start getting into like, again, if you can be a little flexible, but when you're willing to go, you can pick those off-season times. And then, with lodging, Airbnb, I think, has really made travel a lot more accessible to people who are more beholden to a budget. Obviously, there's people out there who they don't care how much they spend on a place. But personally, I've found like Airbnb mixing in a couple like really budget-friendly stops allows me to either travel for more days or like splurge. I usually towards the end of a trip, I'm like, okay, I want a nicer place. I don't want to be walking all over. I want to be like close to the place. I want to be
Nice
a comfy
meal.
bed,
Yeah.
and that oftentimes is like where, okay, yeah, you can splurge. But I used to do hotels, and they're just so impersonal, and I usually just travel by myself because my wife can't get the time off in the summer, so I'm just like, it can also be a little lonely. I've met some really cool people through Airbnb, and that's also kind of fun. So tell me about, is it pretty easy once you're over there to travel between countries, or
Yeah.
how does that work?
Yeah. And one thing, sorry, I want to jump back really quick.
Yeah.
One other thing about like accommodations, hostels are another option for people who are like comfortable potentially sharing a room with other people. You typically have a space to like lock your luggage up. We tend to be a little bit more private, and so we wanted our own individual space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, I think there's a lot to be said for hostels. I know people
She said,
who
I'm 40 now.
who've
Yeah.
done those. Like, yeah, I think if you reach a certain age, it's like, you know what? I'm
not for me.
That's not going to work.
But there also, some of them are not that much at this point now. Hostels, I think there was a time where, before Airbnb, where they were more of a thing. But cost-wise, like a lot of the hotels that we were looking at were not significantly different from staying in a hostel. And so it's really when you're looking at accommodations, looking at different platforms. So yeah, looking at Airbnb, but also just like going on Google Maps and looking at, you know.
And the hotel when we were leaving Amsterdam was a nice move too.
Yeah, at the airport.
Yeah.
Yep. And sometimes you just, if as you said, maybe if you want something nicer, something easy at the end of your trip to make this easy, it can be worth the splurge.
Yep. And
it just depends on kind of where you're putting your money throughout the trip. And
Yeah.
to also speak to like your point on people, you think about the overall cost. It's also helpful to take it down into like bite size, like pieces, right? So we bought the
Yeah.
tickets in March for our trip in October. And so that big chunk was out of the way.
Yeah,
And then it's
yeah.
like, okay. And then a few months later, I just paid all up front for our Airbnb. So then that is out of the way.
Yeah.
So then at a certain point, all we're focusing on is, okay, how much are we spending day to day?
Right.
You know, so you're kind of breaking it up a little bit instead of it being like, well, I need $10,000 or $5,000 before I can even start thinking about
That's
this.
right, yeah.
You know, it's helpful.
How many
to,
kidneys do I really need for this?
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like, how am I rationalizing
Yeah.
this and when I'm spending that money? And that I think was helpful
Well,
as well.
and then I think like once you realize, okay, this is the trip I'm going on, this is a thing. The first cost. Oftentimes, I know that like Airbnb, if you stay for a lengthy amount, sometimes it's like a 5 or more. You do get a little bit of a break on the price, which is kind of nice. But just like having that, and then between, that's almost the nice thing, is that like the overall cost of the trip is mostly lodging and getting there.
Yep.
But when one of those things is out of the way and you still have time, like a couple months before you're actually going,
Yep.
then you can kind of be, at least for me, I'm always like, all right, do I want to go out for this burger or do I want to have a nice meal on my trip?
Yeah.
And then I kind of rationalize, all right, I'm going to go into kind of saving mode because I'm going to use these funds that I would ordinarily do at a restaurant here. I'll just do it while I'm on
my trip.
vacation.
Yeah,
and that'll be more
exactly.
special.
Exactly. Yeah. And we enjoy doing that kind of stuff around here. We like enjoy going out, but that was our thing too. It's like, well, we want to make sure that we've got, money to spend while we're gone.
Yeah.
So that's where we prioritized too for a number of months beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the places we went were pretty affordable. Like Amsterdam was a little more spendy than some of the other spots, but Prague was super cheap.
Yeah.
It was so damn cheap.
Prague was
like,
very affordable.
Yeah.
you get like 2 tankards of Pilsner for
Oh.
$5.
$3 or $4.
Yeah.
US.
That's music to my ears. All right, before we go any further, I want to pause because you've poured another beer.
Yeah.
Now, this is, if I just had to guess visually looking at this, I'm going to guess this is some type of lager. No. It's a stout. My eye, a triple. Okay, yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense too.
So
Yeah.
when we arrived at my dad's house, his stepdaughter and son-in-law, they brought a welcome basket full of regional beers.
Oh, fun.
It was
Okay.
very sweet. And so
Yeah.
we drank most of them while we were there.
And they're in like southern Netherlands, right on the border of Belgium and
Okay.
Germany.
Yep.
So they have a lot of great beer options right in their little corner.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so this was one of the ones that we
It's a
brought back with us.
Nice, easy drinking triple,
Okay.
Yes.
8.5%.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
a light
Well,
8%.
The kind of the calling card of that style is
The
that it is
lowest
very.
ABV of the ones that we have.
A lot of banana in the nose. And
Oh, yeah, that smells so good.
So fun.
so, yeah, as soon as I got there, they were feeding me. Every beer was 8% and higher. And I'm just like, I can't do this. We
It
just
was-
got off a train.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really nice when we, got to Prague and we're drinking Pilsners and Kolsch and Köln again
Yeah.
after.
Okay, so I want to get before we continue. The other thing I want to talk about. Okay, so you fly into Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
You were there for how long? Because you said the total number of days you were
17 days.
17 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were in Amsterdam for 4 days.
Okay.
Yeah, like 4, including, or not including travel, I think.
Right.
I think it was 5.
5 total.
Total.
4 nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was that the biggest chunk of time that you were in any one location?
Prague we also did.
3
Okay.
days in
We-
Prague.
No, we did 5 days in Prague, but we did 1 day to Pilsen while we were
Oh,
in
yeah.
Prague. So
Yeah.
it kind of felt like 3.
Yeah.
Between Amsterdam and Prague, we were in each city for, I think, 5 days.
Okay.
So we flew into Amsterdam.
Okay.
And we stayed there for 5 days. And I know I'd have to look back at my calendar. I also, pro tip, I am a huge nerd and make a lot of spreadsheets. And that helps me really organize when I'm traveling, where we're going, how I'm getting there, where we're staying, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of brainstorm what we're going to do from
We've
there.
Google mapped everything, like breweries, restaurants,
Yeah.
top-rated things, and started adding them to notes and being like, these are the things I would check out, or we would be down to check out if we got time, and just kind of kept it loose and tried to hit as much things on the list as possible.
Yeah. And so then we were in Amsterdam for those 5 days, and then we took a train down and hung out with my dad for a couple of days.
Okay.
And then we took a train back up to Amsterdam, flew from Amsterdam to Prague.
Okay.
And then we took a train from Prague to Cologne, and that was like a longer train ride.
Okay.
From Amsterdam to South Netherlands, where my dad lives, it was about 2.5 hours. The train from Prague to Cologne was 8 hours.
Okay.
So it was 2 4-hour trains. We had like a connection to make in the middle.
Okay.
And then from Cologne, we took a train, which was only about an hour, back near my dad's, and then stayed with them for kind of the last chunk of time.
Okay.
So we had a little bit of a break. It was nice to have some balance of family time and not family time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I always think it's nice to when you're traveling to either meet up with someone or stay with someone, but also like having either like alone time if you're by yourself, or just like solitary with whomever you're going with is really good. It's nice to have that balance, because like sometimes when you stay with people when you're on a trip, it's very gracious, but like
It's exhausting for
it
everybody
can
involved.
be, yeah, and that's the thing to think about, is like, as maybe like, you know, it's fun for a little bit, but I think my stepmom has a thing. She's like, you know, company and fish, 2 days at the most, and then just kind of has to go. So I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, there's a ton to do in Amsterdam, and actually, fun fact: the first brewery tour I ever went on was in Amsterdam at Heineken.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Way back when.
So you've done this before.
I've been there. We were not there for very long. It was the last place, because we were flying out of Amsterdam. And it wasn't for beer. It was more just kind of like
Different podcast. Red Light Dan.
That's right. You can't find it anymore. If you look, it's somewhere. You have to know the
on the
keywords
dark
to
web.
search, like safety word Guadalajara, and that's all I'm going to say. And if you find it, well, I can't be held responsible for the different talking points that you'll hear. But no, it was like. It was like I was graduating from college, and my dad, we were kind of like blending families. My sister, myself, and my dad, and then my stepmom and her 2 kids decided to do like a trip to Europe to kind of celebrate 2 graduations and kind of like have a first family travel together type thing. And we did your typical American like whistle stop tour at some of the big cities: London, Paris, Rome, Florence, Basel, Switzerland, and then Amsterdam, and then home.
Wow.
And it was great. It was exhausting, but it was also traveling
With your family.
for, I think we were gone for like, it was like 20, like either 18 or 20 days. I can't remember. And it was like a lot, because you do like a couple nights in each city, and it just, even if you're by yourself, sometimes travel it's a vacation, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so I think that like, there are parts of that trip that I didn't enjoy as much. And I think it's just because of like either the time that you visit a place, where it is on your timeline can be different. The first city we went to was London, and I fell in love with London. I didn't want to leave London.
Yeah.
And then we went to Paris, and I just think I had like a hangover from London of like, oh, that was so cool, and I didn't enjoy Paris as much. I think if I went back to Paris and that was the first thing, I'd probably enjoy it. But Paris is also the only place I've ever been where I've been shat on by a pigeon. So that also left some PTSD, psychological damage. I'm going to take a sip of this triple now.
So no camping, no pigeons.
No camping, no
pigeons. Yeah, France was an interesting place. We did, however, like venture outside of the city for like a day trip, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Amsterdam. Let's hyper focus on there. When you're looking at Amsterdam ahead of time, what is the beer scene like there? I mean, I know Heineken, like that's like a big thing, but what other things did you find?
Yeah, definitely. Like pilsners and lagers are very much in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But then there is a very big craft beer scene as well, where we went to, I don't remember how many it was, but like
Could look at the list. But we had, I mean, yeah, we went to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if we want to include a Hulpener.
yeah.
So 7 in Amsterdam and kind of that area. And yeah, I mean, they had your more traditional styles, and then you've got your more kind of like modern, I guess.
Hazies, fruited sours,
Yeah.
pastry stouts, kind of all the hype beers and
Sure.
kind of everything in between. And there was like some that were definitely kind of had that old school brewery tip where they had more like Belgian beers and ambers and things of that nature, kind of like the old school U.S. craft kind of thing. And now then there's these newer ones too that just kind of make the weird funky stuff. And
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of wanted to spread out what we were doing, you know, and not
Yeah.
just do very traditional, because we knew after Amsterdam kind of where we were going was going to be more traditional. So we wanted to also embrace some of the more modern. But so there's
Yeah.
one, Beercation is one of the more like traditional.
they got a big windmill outside. It was kind of cool. And
Okay.
They
Yeah.
got food, and the
They have
food
it-
was really good.
And they had a couple of locations.
Yeah.
And so they had more traditional styles, but as we were saying, like Two Chefs, the beer that we had earlier, that one, you know, we had a little bit more, like you got your hazies and
American pale ales and
Okay.
different styles of pilsners that they were brewing there, not just like a kind of a la Heineken or whatever, but they also had an American pils, Czech pils, and things like that.
Wow, okay.
So it's like they're doing kind of the same thing everyone here is
I
doing,
always-
and it's super cool.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's sweet because you get to see like not everyone's doing different stuff, but they're all kind of doing the same thing too. And they're just trying to hone their craft and make different beers and
Yeah.
offer different offerings for whatever palate might come through their doors. And that's the way you need to be, because that Two Chefs also does food, and like the name, they started off as two chefs opening a brewery, and
Okay.
they wanted to have a really good kitchen that complements the beer, and that was awesome. And the other one that probably had the most kind of almost northeast taproom
Walhalla.
feel, Walhalla, yeah, they were really good too, and they had a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff and hazies,
Okay.
and classic West Coast IPAs, and
yeah, I'm looking at our list of like the beers that we tried when we were in Amsterdam, and it's like Bach IPA, New England IPA,
Okay.
like double IPA, New England IPA, cold IPA, lager, you know, and so we did.
That's fascinating
We really
to me.
leaned into that because I mean
Yeah.
it was, I think, just to see the
That-
difference, because and I think for us there was a noticeable difference in, you know, yeah, we're drinking maybe a New England IPA or like a hazy IPA, but it still has like, I don't know, traditional vibes. Like it's
Sure.
not super heavy, or it's not as maybe like the body is still a little bit lighter than you would expect from like a New England IPA around
not as
here.
much residual sweetness. And
Yeah.
that was the same way too. Like you'd go to the next one, and then they'd have one that we thought was more reflective of the style, but that's kind of the same in Minneapolis too. Like
Totally.
there's
Sure.
a lot of breweries that aren't like, the beer's not exactly the same, and that's what's kind of cool about it too. 'Cause
Yeah.
there were definitely ones that were like, well, it's not our thing, But then there were some that were like, oh my God, this is awesome. We need to make sure we grab a can or two of this. And
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought some to go, I think, from Two Chefs. Probably. We got some to go.
Yeah.
That was, so we were able to get like to go from some of the breweries.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
Valhalla too, that I ended up drinking, I think, that night in the Airbnb,
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So kind of a mix of like traditional, but like a lot of modern things. And I think that's one, I think maybe if there's at least personally for me, the idea of planning a international beer trip, it's kind of partly a little bit intimidating because I'm like, well, I don't know, like I like Belgian beers, but I don't know much about them, and I don't know like where, other than like the ones that we get here, those are the only ones I know.
Yeah.
And so like, for instance, Heineken. Okay, I know that brewery's in Amsterdam, but like how much, I think there's always, when you're planning a beer trip, you can do too much research.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, but oftentimes I will look at a city, I'll look at a map, and I'll like write down that I will make a spreadsheet. And I'll kind of I'll look at a couple different places to look for like ratings, reviews, see what people have said. But also I don't like want to pack it too tight so that there's no wiggle room just in case you discover something that either like open. I mean, you said you bought your airfare well before you went. I have run into the situation when I've been on a beer trip. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm here, I'm doing these. And you start talking to locals and they're like, have you been Brewery B yet?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No, where's that? Well, like opened 2 months ago. They're just killing it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to check that out. So there's like that kind of sweet spot of like having stuff, but like also allowing, time within that structure to discover something that maybe wasn't on your radar before.
Yeah. And we definitely tried to maintain that balance where we would get up, think about the main objective of the day, go see a site, go whatever, and then we would find a brewery or restaurant that's in that vicinity because Jessi had it all logged in our maps. So it's like as soon as we're there, you pull up your Google Maps and you see the 6 green or blue dots or whatever they all around you. All right, well, this one's on the way home. Let's hit these X, Y, and Z. And then also Amsterdam's public transportation is amazing. It's so awesome between the subway and the trams and trains and buses. And we got a 3-day pass and it was super cheap.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
you just beep it on everywhere you go and it's so damn easy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do they have, I mean, like for me, usually I'll try not to rent a car if I'm, especially like when I was in Asheville, I didn't rent a car because I'm like, what's the point? I'm just going to be in Asheville and rely on just like Lyft or Uber.
Yeah.
Do they have similar services or they don't need them because they have such a robust public transit system?
They do have like rideshare, and we could have rented a car. I did before we went. I got my international driver's license because I wanted to be able to offer, to drive if my dad can't drive anymore. And so I was like, I told my stepmom, I was like, I don't want to expect you to have to drive us everywhere when we're with you.
Right.
So I got my international driver's license, and I've spoken with a few people that have driven over there before, and they've, had pretty good luck with it.
Okay.
However, I would not want to drive in Prague, and I would not want to drive in Amsterdam.
Yeah. I don't want to drive in Chicago. So
No, truly. Feels a little bit more chaotic for the, unexperienced. Yeah.
It's
totally different.
Right.
But so they do have rideshare, but I mean, we didn't use rideshare at all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We walked a lot.
Yeah.
And then
10 to 12 miles per day.
Yeah,
Jesus.
every day we just walked a bunch. But
that's something people should know too. It's like,
be ready to walk.
Be ready to walk.
I mean,
and that's the way to take in the city too. You're not going to see it out of a rideshare window, and you find more cool spots that way too, where it's like, oh, let's pop in here real quick for a beer, and then you do meet locals, and they're like, oh, you should check this out, or we had the one spot in Amsterdam, the little punk bar, and ended up making friends, and the guy bought us a couple rounds, and it was really cool.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing that like stays with you. That this
It was really
unexpected,
fun.
amazing thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, because we went in there and they had, a bunch of like fuck tourism, fuck tourist signs up there because I will.
All right, put on your fake mustache.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was like, but we're the cool kind,
That's right.
But kind of going back to like the beer styles, I think that the beer styles that they had in Amsterdam is also very reflective of how much of that city does rely a lot on tourism.
Yeah.
Same with Prague.
Yeah, and same with Prague. And so you've got a little bit more kind of variety. It's less specific to like culturally specific or regionally specific because they're trying to appeal to more people. But yeah, I know. I mean, I think like getting around. I mean, when we arrived at the airport, you go up. They've got a station where you can buy like transportation passes.
Okay.
And so we just bought our 3-day pass right there, and we're able to, with a little bit of clunkiness due to some closures, I would say in terms of travel, be ready for sometimes train tracks and stations to be closed and have to be redirected.
Yeah.
Okay.
And be flexible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because and I'd experienced that in the past, and I was really hoping to not experience it upon arrival.
Yeah.
But we did, and we got through it.
And they have tons of people there helping out,
Answering questions, directing you, because this track closure happened. It had happened like that morning, like probably an hour before we arrived.
Okay.
So we saw people noticing it and trying to figure out what to do, and it's like, oh, I guess we have to figure something out too.
Sure.
And then we saw employees come in and they're directing people and they're helping to guide people, which was really nice. So
Yeah.
Everywhere we went to, English was spoken.
That was going to be my
almost
next
everywhere,
question. Sometimes in those crisis situations, the language barrier can kind of rear its ugly head, but
Yeah.
like you didn't experience any of that.
No. So in Amsterdam, that's a huge question that we got from a lot of people was what's the language barrier? Is that a thing? And like, yes, to some degree, depending on where you are. When you get outside of the city center, there's maybe fewer people speaking English.
Sure.
But there's a lot of, there's translator apps. I used even just like a Google Images. You could take pictures of menus, and that will translate the information on a piece of paper fairly well enough that we can understand what it means.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, everybody spoke English, which was very helpful. I never did well with language classes.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, I know like enough conversational Spanish to get me,
totally.
but like that wouldn't do me any good in Amsterdam.
You're
so,
right. Well, and it is interesting. I mean, and I think it's because that's the, typically the primary language, but Dutch is just like this mashup of all of the other languages around it.
Right.
And so it's kind of a default. Like my stepmom speaks like 5 languages because of where she grew up and kind of out of necessity. So in Amsterdam specifically, really not a problem. In Prague, really not a problem. I think Cologne was also really not a problem at all. There was maybe, I think that was the train to Cologne, and then Cologne in general was where I ran into any sort of clunkiness with language. But,
sure,
you get by, you point, you gesture. We're all humans, and we just kind of do our best to try to understand one another. And I think being humble and understanding, like I'm in your country, but don't beat yourself up about it either.
Right.
Just try to do your best.
Yeah, I think that's like, I mean, the biggest stereotype about Americans when we travel is that we're loud and obnoxious and think everybody should speak English. I think there's the number one thing is like you're in somebody else's place.
Totally.
Understand that and respect that. That's a big part of traveling. And I have found, except for Paris, because that's the other negative thing. Like we were also there in the height of tourist season. Aside from being shat on by a bird, I found that like even when you try to speak French to Parisians, they still were just grade A assholes, and I'm like, okay, fine.
I was very uncomfy. That French is the past time I was there, I went with a friend to Paris, and we were, and that was the one where it's like, I do have like a little bit of conversational skills in French. It did not matter. They did not care.
Yeah.
And I kind of had the same experience. And it's just, I think that's just kind of the vibe, the attitude. And
Yeah.
you can't take it personally.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not,
Yeah. You just have to roll
we know
with it.
we're good
you
people.
have to roll with it. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We're just doing our best, man.
Right. Okay. So we got another beer. Now this has a very like kind of a really rich, almost dark garnet brown color.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells
Grand
roasty.
Cru.
Okay.
This is one of the few
Oh, I love
Abbey
the
beers.
This is a cool.
that we
I
brought
love the
back.
label. Look at that label.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
It's
How
beautiful.
do you pronounce this?
Oof.
Oh, which one I have to look at it?
Valdu.
That's what I would go with.
Okay, Valdu.
I'm not looking at it, so
Let's
yes.
see what ChatGPT says.
Yeah, I'd say Valdu.
All my French I learned from the movie Home Alone, where he says, "Kevin, you're what the French call les incompetents."
Just watched that on Christmas.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
a classic Christmas movie.
Classic.
But not another easy 10.5%.
Oh, yeah.
Grand Cru.
Oh, this smells good. This is the beer, and this was sitting on the table, which is great because a beer like this you don't want to really drink right fresh out of
Yeah.
the fridge.
Yeah, it's
You
warm
want to
up
kind
a
of
bit,
let let those flavors and aromatics get a little warmer.
Yeah. This one is a nice, like, cozy fall, winter beer. It's a little, like, not super warming, but it has that, I don't know, kind
Yeah,
of warming flavor.
You get
Yeah.
kind of that special bee malt character out of it, like almost like pruny dark fruits. and-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is very kind of Belgian quad-y,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like with those like fruits.
Yeah.
This is like in my wheelhouse
Yeah.
of beers that are just good to sip.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. It's a little more on the, like, a little more rich, but not heavy and dense.
Yeah, and you said where's this one from?
Belgium.
Belgium.
I
Okay,
think. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
That was in one of the gift baskets, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. This
that
would be
is
one of
such
the
a
basket
cool.
beers.
Oh, I love that label. That's so neat.
Little mosaic on it.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, you're enjoying a One Pint Stand. My aim is to help spread the word about craft beer. Enjoying craft beer is a passion of mine, and I love chatting about it with other people. A One Pint Stand has a goal of helping breweries tell their stories. I love to get out in and beyond Minnesota to visit breweries, beer bars, and meet other interesting beer people. If you're also into those things, you'll probably want to keep tabs on the show. So go ahead and follow a One Pint Stand on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. I also started a TikTok account because I was tired of Charles calling me a boomer for not having one. I'd also appreciate any and all positive reviews on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever it is you listen to your podcast to help make it easier for other craft beer listeners to find us. If you want to support the show with some of the extra change that you find in your couch cushions, I have a Patreon. There are 3 different monthly levels of support and priced at $1, $3, or $5 a month. If you pledge at the $3 or $5 monthly level, you get some cool perks. So go to patreon.com and search a One Pint Stand to check it out. We're up to 19 supporters, and I'm really excited about what that means for the show. If you like reading about craft beer, you can check out my written work on onepintstand.com. I love to write, and that's where you're going to find a lot of written content covering both the local beer happenings and my craft beer travels. I truly appreciate you listening and taking time to enjoy our stories. Now, before we head back to the show, I want to talk about a fantastic meadery located in the heart of the city, Bumbling Fool's Mead. Bumbling Fool's Mead serves mead for all palates. Whether you like sweet, herbal, or dry, they have a mead for you. Make sure you have their 2nd anniversary on your calendar. The anniversary party be on Saturday, April 5th, and features some exclusive one-day-only releases. The party will go from 2 to 10 p.m. and be a honey of a good time.
How about a beer?
From Amsterdam, you went to Prague.
Yeah.
Prague, I think, is kind of a bucket list thing for anybody who's into beer. first of all, why Prague? And then what did you discover about it that really made you happy you chose to spend some time there?
For me, it was, we had a lot of people saying Prague is beautiful and it's a place you need to visit. But then also within the Czech Republic is Pilsen, the home of Pilsner,
Yes.
and Pilsner Urquell. So we did a day trip out of Prague to the Pilsner Urquell brewery, and that was a big deal, and that was awesome. It was probably the best beer tour I've ever been on. And
Okay.
I can be kind of pessimistic, and it exceeded my expectations, and it was beautiful, and
Yeah, and that was when we were looking at locations. It was like, okay, well, we want to go to where some of these beers originated.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, like Prague was just one of those, as you're saying, kind of bucket list spots. And I've, when we were looking, I was like, oh, well, we could do this. You know, the Pilsen and Pilsner Urquell was about a 45-minute or hour train ride from Prague.
Okay.
So really easy to get to. And I'm trying to recall if I think we bought tickets ahead of time for the train to get there, but you could,
and the tour.
yeah, and we bought tickets ahead of time for the tour, but
That sold out.
yeah, but the train ride you could buy tickets day of. You
Okay.
know? And that was it. I mean, I've read a bit about it, and it's just a very beautiful and historic city. And so for me, I really love to go and see, you know, I like to engage with some of the culture that's happening there and the history of a city and so, or of a region. And so I know some of the, you know, the age of the bridge and why things happen and when things happen. And so it's just nice to be able to go and be immersed in that. And I think it's also interesting.
Art from there.
Yeah, the art and the architecture. At Alphonse Mucha Museum.
Cities with the architecture and
Architecture was stunning.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of all of these things. It was a very walkable city. It was extremely walkable. So we did a lot of public transportation in Amsterdam. Between Amsterdam and Prague, I pretty severely rolled my ankle. And so I was like, oh, I'm, you know, ruined the trip. Everything's going to be horrible. We figured it out. We made it around. So we still were walking, you know, 10 miles or so.
She was toughing it out. It was insane.
Well, 40th birthday, once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
I have 2 legs. We just walked a little slower, which was actually really nice because then you had to take stuff in a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, we walked a little bit slower, but we didn't even use, I think, public transportation in Prague at all.
Just to get to Pilsen
Just to get to Pilsen and back, yeah.
Okay.
And that's more speaking to, like, they had it. It was accessible.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't necessary because the city was very walkable. It was pretty small.
Yeah.
Okay.
And where we wanted to be was very walkable. And again, I mean, I think we could have done like day trips outside of the city or done some like different things. But for me, spending more time in a less area is a better way to just experience, you know, different regions.
And then also Prague definitely had more of that old beer vibes, like you were talking about in Amsterdam, where they had a lot more of the pubs and taverns that just had Urquell on tap, and that was it.
Yeah.
And like some of the cash-only places were our favorite, where it was super dirt cheap, and they had classic old-school meals where you get the goulash and the dumplings and things like that, and it's very classic.
Like the culture of just of how the restaurants operate, and so you go in. We went to this one very old tavern restaurant, and I will say, in terms of planning things out and figuring out where we're going to go and what we're going to do, so we looked on Google Maps. Josh is also really great at like YouTube University and finding people who are sharing their experiences online. And so there's a YouTuber that we found.
There's a YouTube channel, Honest Guide, that is in Prague, and he does a lot of tourist stuff, but he's he lives there, and he's like, these are the things you got to check out, and these are the things you got to look out for, and like be wary of this or whatever it may be.
And he's like, let me share this thing with you. It was and truly, as in an age of being over influenced, I felt like his was very actually beneficial and helpful.
Yeah.
So, but we went to this one restaurant and brewery, and you sat down, and it's, you know, very communal tables, and it's this multi-room space, and there's these guys that are coming out with trays of beer and trays of liqueur. And
wow.
so you just, if you want a beer, they've got a light beer and a dark beer, and you say, I want a light beer, and they'll plop down a mug, and then they'll mark your, kind of like with Coast Service, they'll mark your coaster. And then if you get a shot, like a liqueur,
little
they
apple
had
brandy,
apple cinnamon brandy, and honey, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And and then same, if you wanted one, they'd come to your table, plop it down, mark your coaster. Somebody would come take your food order.
Okay.
And the beers would just kind of keep coming until you told them to stop. And
how do you not just that? I mean, that sounds perfect.
It was so fun.
It just sounds perfect.
Because you're kind of, and again, like we do enjoy socializing, but also do need some time to kind of decompress. So for us, it was also just fun to like watch it happen around us.
Yeah.
And to like, we're enjoying our time together and enjoying our individual experience, and also like just watching all the action happen around us. It was, I think that was really, really fun. That was one of my favorite, like, unexpected places that we went there.
Yeah. And I love it when you kind of like stumble upon something really special. And sometimes, like, I think a lot of the stars have to align for something truly magical to happen on a trip, because there's so much like things that have been planned, and just like, when you find yourself in that special moment and just like, oh, yeah. I'm here, and this is happening, and it's so hard to describe, but it's such a special feeling.
And I think a lot of Prague was like that for us.
That was when we went to Pilsen at the Pilsen Urquell Brewery. I was just expecting to go drink some beer there, check out a tour. Yeah. But then we went and we're like, well, they got food here. And we checked out their restaurant, which is like a 500-seat restaurant.
Fine dining
Oh, wow. Restaurant. Okay. And like they weren't busy at all down there, but we got 2 awesome entrees. She did the goulash dumplings. I did a like cheesy bacon spetzel. And then we got 4 tankards of Pilsner Urquell and 2 espressos, and it was like $35 US.
Oh my Lord.
And it was one of the best meals.
That's
of the whole
insane.
And
See, that's
beautiful.
so
and
cool.
It was a beautiful atmosphere too.
And you'll remember that forever.
Oh, absolutely.
That you'll remember everything, walking in, the feel. There's a lot of people that don't think about travel as a way to really feed your soul.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that I wish more Americans would understand is there's like, yes, there's a lot of great things here, and sometimes people have a hard time getting outside the comfort zone. They want to stay with what's familiar. Yeah. They're afraid, like, maybe I don't speak a foreign language. How am I going to handle going?
What am I going to eat the whole time?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a McDonald's there?
Yeah.
But it's like, they're everywhere. I mean, come on. 90 billion burgers served. There's going to be a McDonald's. But
Popeyes in Prague.
If you allow yourself that opportunity to get outside of your comfort zone, you are going to be rewarded. And that reward will not only be like that great meal, but those memories that stay, when you walk into a new place and the little hairs on your neck stand up, that's like the whole point of being alive.
Yeah.
Just watching them clean their mugs. Like Jessi was like, "Are you okay?" I'm
That's
like,
all.
"It's
He's
so
just
beautiful."
watching.
like just how they're cleaning.
Get
their
this
bar,
man a
cleaning the
moist
mugs,
towelette and a
like,
cigarette, and let him be. Do not touch him. He's in the zone.
But also being able to get a full pour or a snit or a milk pour. Also there, it was really cool.
What's a snit?
Half pour. So it's
okay.
half foam,
All right.
half beer.
Yeah, but half foam. So like half milk pour, half.
So it's like if you don't want a full beer, you get a snit. And
Okay. Yeah.
And they had, and
everything's obviously side pours and it's like the best ever. And
it was really fun.
Yeah.
Going down the tour into like the caves where they still do some lagering there, and they were pulling in glasses right off of these tankards, and it was awesome.
Yeah. So that day, I think that day was one of my favorite days because we went to the train station. They also have like a really beautiful coffee shop in the train station. This really like beautiful Art Nouveau style. And we had like a delicious coffee and pastries. And then we took the train. And I think people are scared to travel.
Yeah.
And you just gotta, you have to be brave.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a demeaning way because it is stressful and scary for me too. and you just have to be brave because you're going to get these really beautiful experiences out of it. So we get there, we have this amazing meal, and we go on this tour. And when you're walking into the brewery, they have this commemorative arch from one of their anniversaries that was built. And so you walk in, and it's this huge campus. It's multi-building.
Yeah.
And the museum is in the original brewery space. So you get to walk through kind of the museum, see some of the original brewery, the original like brew house kind of areas that they would make beer in, learn about the development of the beer and of the brewery itself, which, as we talk about beer being such a communal experience, this was literally an entire city that got together and pooled their resources to make this brewery happen.
Oh, because there was like several, like 6 to whatever, 10 smaller kind of breweries, but they're like, let's all get together so we can compete with some of these German like lager breweries, so we can make the best that our town can offer. And,
And then and so they did. So that was part of it, right? And so they pooled other resources, their manpower, their brewing resources. Everybody had a job, and so not only was it something that they could compete with these other breweries, but they also were able to enliven the city by having this become a way of a source of income.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't kind of speak to like what we love about beer, I don't know what
it's at the heart and soul of it.
Exactly. It's how do we empower our community? How do we keep us,
They're very proud of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though Pilsner Urquell sends their bartenders to bartending competitions who can pour the best pint and things like that, and it's really cool. Like, they had a placard for one of the guys out front who had won it, and
they would have whoever was pouring beer. They had like a little like tag that says like, "This is your bartender, and this is what if he's like won anything award winning."
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just did our normal kind of Minnesota, Minneapolis brewery vibes thing where, like, we're going to make sure we return all our glassware, and maybe we'll grab a couple extra on the way, and then the guy notices, and he's super appreciative, and kind of is like, "Oh, you Americans are not all the same."
That's awesome.
We're one glass return at a time. We are changing the way that Europeans feel about Americans.
Somebody has to do it. Good Lord. So, Pilsner Urquell is an iconic brewery. I would imagine that, I know I've looked at their website and because I was like doing research for where the Milko Pour originated and trying to learn about that, because there was a brewery I went to in Louisville where I had a Milko Pour for the first time. I'm like, oh, I get it. This is kind of cool. Yeah. Seems kind of silly at first, but like, why would I order a beer that's just foam? I get it now.
It's fun.
How easy was it to get a spot on the tour?
Oh,
for that one. Okay.
You just pop online and you can get the tickets online. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually ordered them for I ordered them for the wrong day.
Oh, okay.
Originally, and then I had to send an email immediately because I don't know what I did, but they sent me a coupon and I was able to get it. So it was super easy. And they do tours in like English and German and Czech, I think.
Okay.
I think that was the 3 languages they do tours in.
And you said that was about 45 minutes outside of
Prague.
Prague?
Yeah,
okay.
Via train.
All right.
And the tour itself was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was a long tour.
And that's good to know, too, because I think some people like, if you get a brewery tour here, it could be like a half hour, 45 minutes.
At Heavy, it's 5 minutes. We do it from sitting right here.
That's right.
We take
the
a tour.
tanks, the beers.
The coolers over
Any
there.
questions? All right, next. Yeah.
And you get the, they pour you a pint off, like a fresh pint off of one of the big barrels too, which was
See, that's pretty cool.
Really cool. That was extremely cool.
Yeah.
I felt very lucky because I was like kind of like first up there, so I got a good visual of it in a video.
Yeah.
But that was it was just neat,
Yeah.
And we chatted with a couple of Americans who were from Oregon,
I think they were from, they were from Oregon.
And they were like, this is one of our stops. And they had just came from Oktoberfest, and they were really
Wow.
jacked about it, and we kind of nerd out about beer. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to Cologne after this. They're like, oh, we want to do that, and it was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
So, talking about cologne.
Yeah.
Now, in America, the United States, we don't have regional beers. So, for listeners who may not understand the allure of cologne, why did you pick it, and what do people need to know about the beer there?
Yeah, Cologne is known for their Kolsch style beer, which is awesome. It's really light, crispy, got a hint of apple and pear, and it can only be called a Kolsch if it's within 50 kilometers of the cathedral in Cologne.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it has to be called a Kolsch style ale.
Yep.
Kind of like champagne. Like if it's not brewed,
Champagne region of France.
yeah, it's not the real
Yeah.
deal kind of deal.
Yeah, so those places where we stayed in Cologne, we were right outside of the cathedral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were having Kolsch, not
Yeah.
Kolsch style beers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of people, a lot of breweries doing Kolsch style beers, and I think,
Table service and stuff.
and so
Yeah.
this new like Kolsch service, a lot of breweries are starting to do that. This is not something that is new.
No.
It's probably hundreds, maybe 1,000 years old. Who knows?
Who's to say?
But like the idea where like you get a coaster and somebody comes around and they're not pints, they're like is it pronounced Stang? Those
I believe that's right.
teeny
It's
tiny,
like 10
it's like
ounces.
0.3
Yeah.
something.
I think it's like, and I think it's more like, I thought it was more like 7 or 8 ounces.
It might be. I don't know.
Maybe
something
we should
like
look
that.
on the internet. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yes, it's a smaller pour.
Yeah,
Like a half-ish pint.
yeah,
And typically what they're doing is they're pouring it directly off of what is the vessel?
Like the
Like the keg, but
or,
it's more like a firkin.
It looks like a firkin.
It looks like a firkin.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. So it looks kind of like a firkin most of the time. This one particular Kolschry we went to they had
Brew.
Fru, which was the best
Yeah.
in terms of service, and I think the Kolsch was also one of my favorites. It was the first one we went to,
first
so we
one
might
we
have
went
also been, similarly
Sure.
to you
Yeah.
in your London
Fresh off
vibes.
the train.
We were just
Yeah.
like,
Hammered
Hell
the first
yeah.
3, and the guy kind of raised his eyebrow. He's like, "I like you too."
you're here to party. You're like,
that's great.
we are.
See, you single-handedly changed so many people's views of Americans.
True.
That's
They also, I think a lot of people would try to speak like native languages to us. So
Okay.
I think they just thought that we were not American.
yeah.
But so Kolsch service is typically you're going to order a beer from the server or the bartender at the Kolschery, and oftentimes if you're getting table service, they're going to drop this smaller glass off to you, and they'll make a tick on your coaster,
Okay.
signifying how much you've drank, and they will continue to come back to you with refills until you tell them that you are done. Oftentimes, the way to tell them you're done is by putting your coaster on top of your glass. However, sometimes, depending on where you are, and granted, the day that we were there,
I looked it up.
that's the one.
Fru Kolsch.
Fru,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
And the day that we were there, was like a Monday afternoon. So they're checking in on us a little bit before just bringing the beer out.
Yeah.
But like Sunday night when we got there, when we went to Fru, they were kind of rocking and rolling. So he's got his little carrier that he can, hold probably 8 or 10 glasses in.
Sure.
And similarly to the restaurant in Prague, they're just dropping it off, making a tick on your coaster, taking your empty glasses until you tell them you're done.
Yeah.
They will have, the ones that we went to, oftentimes they had just the Kolsch, and then they'll have like a wheat beer as well as
Okay,
an option.
okay.
And sometimes they'll have like a dark beer as well as an option. But the primary beer that you're drinking, and the only one that you're drinking in this way, is the Kolsch.
Sure.
All the other ones are served more traditionally in like a pint glass or a wheat beer glass.
Yeah.
And it was cool trying the 8 or 9 different ones and seeing the differences in each one, because it's such a subtle beer, and
Yeah.
like some of them definitely had more of the pronounced kind of appley pear kind of notes, and other ones not so much. Some are a little bit more of a crispy kind of thing, and yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that sounds so perfect to me, and I love the handful of breweries I've been to that have done a Kolsch service. I think I'm probably most familiar with DCBC dual
Yeah.
citizen because they do their like once a month
Sunday service.
Sunday service. It's just kind of cool. When I was last summer, I went to Louisville, and there's like a really good beer bar there that like really leans heavily into some of those beers. And I want to say, this is what, when you said Fru, I was like, I've had that before. And that was a beer that I had at this place called Holy Grail.
Cool.
And then we went out into the beer garden, and they were doing cold service.
Awesome.
And I'm like, this is perfect because that is just a fun way to drink beer.
Yes.
I think with lagers, hey, I'm all for drinking it by the pint. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a goofball, but the smaller pour keeps it cool, fat. And you can really just like Isn't it a lot about experiencing it in the way that it should be served?
Yeah.
Because when we start
history to
conversing,
it.
we kind of like, oh yeah, you're not drinking it as fast, and if it gets warm, that's not ideal.
Right, with that particular style, it's
Yeah.
nice to have it a little more crisp, a little more fresh.
Yep.
And as I was saying, like it's right off the firkin. Like you can, or right off what looks like a firkin. That's what I'm going to call
it. We'll call it a firkin. That's fine.
But we're watching the bartender just pour, like
Yeah.
he's opening the tap, on the vessel and just pouring.
A fresh firkin out of the cooler with this chain apparatus and pulley
this like
system.
chain pulley
and
system.
Pulls it down the bar and then hammers in the spigot and
Yeah.
starts pouring. And it's just like, this is sweet because you think like it's been that way for over 400 years or more. And it's crazy. Like a lot of these places are so much older than the U.S. is, and you can feel it as soon as you're walking into a lot of the stuff. It's
Exactly.
like, oh my, like the things that have happened here over centuries is insane.
Exactly. And a lot of the restaurants and some of the, I'm trying to remember that it was one of the cultures that we went to in Cologne. But when you go into the building, I mean, these are these are very old buildings and very old spaces that you're going into. So you have that, I think, in addition to the what you're consuming and whether it be food or drink, you also have the buildings themselves that just have more I don't know, there's just this reverence for their them existing as opposed to, oh well, this is too small, let me just trash it and build something new. It's big and crappy.
Now when you were describing the food at Pilsner Urquell, I was like, oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah.
What was and I love the term kulchery. That's
Kulchery,
great. A
yes,
kulchery. That's a new term. I want to go to a kulchery now. Do the places, the kulcheries, do they have food as well or not really?
Yeah. They did.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, did they? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
We would do a lot of snacking.
A lot of traditional German foods at them.
Okay.
Lots of I can't think of the name.
Schnitzel?
Schnitzels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So we
yeah.
did a lot of those. But everywhere we went, we kind of got an entree to share.
Sure.
Because we wanted to go to the next spot, so then we would get another thing to share at each spot, so we could keep drinking and keep snacking, but kind of try everyone's offerings and see which ones we like the most, or see if there's anything different that we might be into.
And there's a lot of it's very meat and potatoes, which I think was good for Josh.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a lot of drinking, you have
exactly.
to, and that's the advice I'd give. Whether
Fries
you're
everywhere
in Europe or anywhere, make sure you're eating along the way.
And that was the thing. It's we went to 6 or 8 places or whatever per day probably, but the amount of walking we did and then the amount of snacks that we had made that a lot more manageable over time. And we also we would have 1 or 2 beers, or we would have short pours, or we would share beers, and that made it so that we could try a lot of different things. That's how we tried kind of so many things. But yes, there was definitely snacks available. And I mean, all over Prague. Pilsen was what we found, and we were only really there for the day, was that that Pilsner Urquell was kind of the big thing for that city now.
Yep. Yeah.
Cologne was also, it was just kind of a weird time of week that we were there.
Okay.
But still plenty of restaurants. I mean, it was whatever it was, like 11 or noon on a Monday, and the Kolscheries were open, and there was, you know, their little town square kind of area that we wound up in. Mm-hmm. It livened up as the day went on.
Yep. Still kind of a tourist hub with the train station and being kind of a little city on the thing. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many total Kolscheries did you go to?
I only have 5 on our list, but I think we went to
8 or 9.
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
Yeah, because we went to a few the night that we got there, because we got there kind of early evening, and then we went to
3 or 4, and then we went to like 5 or 6 the next day.
The next day, yeah.
Okay. So would you say, I mean, obviously, like, I mean, you could spend 2 months going through different places.
Yeah.
If somebody is really wants to experience the Kolscherie lifestyle, is one night enough? Could you have spent more time there?
I mean, I think it depends on the vibes. Like that was our plan. Like in total, in terms of the amount of like the days that we had available to us. Again, it kind of comes back to like prioritizing. Yeah. And for us, we wanted to experience more of the other cities in terms of their culture and the food. And Cologne was really, we want to go hard on the Kolscheries.
Yeah.
There were some on the way back to her folks' place, which made it an easy kind of stop on the way back.
Because that's in the northwest part of Germany that kind of like abuts the Netherlands, kind of, sort of. Okay.
Yeah.
Just east, I think, of Alstadt. And
And and it was, and so I think it would be easy to spend, you know, more time there. There's definitely more to be done.
Yeah.
But if you're, you know, just trying to go for some Kolscheries, like, go for 2 days.
Yeah.
I could see 2 or 3 days.
I could see 2 or 3 days.
Because there were some other places we wanted to hit, but we still went across the bridge there.
Yep.
What's the name of it?
I'd have to look.
Yeah, the Lock Bridge or whatever.
Yeah, it's got all of these, like, people
padlocks.
It's like this bridge of love.
Oh,
with padlocks on it, and like you get a lock engraved, and it's supposed to signify your love, and you throw the key into the river, and which was really fantastic. I mean, it was insane how many locks were on that bridge. Like thousands of pounds worth.
I'm
of
imagining something similar to like the Gum Wall in Seattle.
Yes,
like very
it is
similar.
like that.
All right.
Yes, it is.
That's
exactly
cool.
Like
probably
that.
Smells better. That was one of the most disgusting, weirdest things I've ever
so
seen.
So weird and gross. But how American of us.
Watching out for pigeons.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have your head on a swivel when you travel. There's locks, gum, shitting birds. I mean, that thing, I don't know if they gave that bird a laxative. I really, I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Maybe I was very frustrated. And to top it all off, I was like wearing like one of my favorite shirts. And they're like, well, pack light.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I'll bring this like right on my shoulder. Like, my sister just sitting there laughing at me. I'm like, I hate everything.
Yeah.
The Cologne sounds amazing.
Yeah.
As you think back, now that you've kind of been through the trip planning process, what are some of the kind of like wonderful surprises or things that you loved way more than you thought you would?
I mean, I think one thing that we haven't talked about that I loved more than I thought I would, which I knew I was going to love it a lot, was the beer spa in Prague.
Yeah.
That was extremely fun. That was such a great way to kind of like initiate the second leg of our trip.
Okay.
Recharge after our flight into Prague.
Because we took the train to Amsterdam, and then we had to fly to Prague.
Okay.
And that evening I had booked us for a beer spa, which a beer spa is a spa of beer. So, and there's a ton of them in Prague. It's a huge thing in Prague. It's definitely touristy, and I do not care. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You book out a room, and you can have your own individual tub, or you can share a tub between 2 people. There's multiple different sizes of rooms, so if you go with like a group of people, you can do that.
And you all wear your swimsuits or whatever you want to do.
Do what makes you feel right.
Right. Hey, I'm on vacation, baby.
Exactly.
I just got shat on by a pigeon. You're not going to tell me what to wear in this tub.
Yeah, we don't wear pants in the I don't know. cut that part out. Cut that out.
Pantsless beers. That'll be
Yeah.
the Patreon content.
Pantsless-
That'll be Red
pantsless
Light.
beer
Red,
spa.
we're re-earthing the Red Light podcast.
Exactly. But so you go and they, it's a hot tub that they have. They put inactive yeast and hot powder and malt powder in to this bubbling tub. And then right next to your tub, you have your own personal taps. So you have
A fresh beer.
a fresh
What?
light or a fresh dark
Oh my
beer.
God.
And they give you some beer bread with butter. And you can rent it out it's an hour at a time. So we rented it for an hour.
Okay.
And we just sat in the hot tubs and it's all you can drink.
Hammered as much beer as we could in that
Yeah.
amount of
My
time.
Lord.
It was so fun and so delicious.
That's
And-
so awesome.
And then there's a shower in there, so you go shower off. And I don't know, they have like a straw bed. That's a traditional part of doing this beer
Like
spa
if you're doing
bath.
a couple hours and you need to rest or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Do
Okay.
something else. Red light district it up.
Don't tell me how to live my
Yeah.
best life.
Yeah.
You keep your straw bed. Just give me,
give me the
give me a
beer.
place to hang my pants.
Yep.
Give me the tap. That's all I need.
Exactly.
And the bread is just icing on the cake. I mean,
well,
that's great.
And some of them you can order order other snacks. You can order
cheeses
meats and cheeses. You can get a massage. You can get a facial, depending on which one you go to. We again wanted to experience it, but kept it
Yeah.
a little simple.
Yep.
And just did an hour, which was perfect for us.
Yeah.
And made a little, people soup.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. They kind of show you, as they're putting the ingredients in, and they pour a beer for you to kind of show you how to do it. And they're like, and if you don't want it, you just dump it into the tub. So
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
It was that one. I mean, that was just really nice. And I think part of we're kind of talking about just this like magic to that
Yeah.
evening was beautiful. We had gotten there. It was kind of misty out. And where we stayed, we were in Old Town Square. And so there's this cathedral, and there's also this astronomical clock that is very touristy. It's hundreds years old clock.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. It rings every hour. People crowd around it every hour. But we just got to go and like walk through the square at night and see, it's just lights, and there's people out on terraces, and I don't know, it's
all cobblestone.
Super
old, and
it's just
like,
not something that you really
come
get.
out of the spa and you're just feeling buzzing from
Oh,
being
sure.
in a hot bath and a few beers, and then we're like, well, let's get some more food and check out this other thing before going to bed. And,
Yeah.
But it wasn't obnoxious, like if you're downtown here on a whatever Saturday night, it's obnoxious,
Right.
and it wasn't obnoxious.
There's no people shouting or yelling or
Right.
Yeah.
driving drunk or anything.
Yeah. And you still have, it was so funny because you still also have a lot of shops open. So there were people shopping. There were also
Okay.
people, and this is at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, because
Yeah.
I think our reservation was at 7:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, 9 o'clock at night, people are still like, they're eating. I think people are spending their time differently. Right?
Yeah.
So they're still shopping, and they're still just enjoying themselves. And I think that was one of my favorite, like, I knew I was going to really like it. I didn't know I was going to like it as much as I did. And I think that whole evening played a part in it.
Yeah.
So,
So I know that Prague is it's an iconic beer place. Talk to me about, were there breweries there? Were there like lager houses there? What were some of those experiences like?
Yeah, there were a few craft beer bars that we checked out. That was a cool way to check out different beers from around the places.
Yeah.
They kind of similar here. They had snacks and different beers, and you got to try different beers from around Prague. And they had some other offerings from close by Belgium and the Netherlands. And we got to try the original Budweiser, Budvar.
Oh, sure.
And that was cool. It was good. And then... But then outside of kind of the old town in Prague, there was a craft brewery we went to that did barbecue and beer, and that was a really cool spot. So they were kind of doing like a very American vibe.
Pult. Was that Pult?
No, it was the Matuska.
Ooh. Automat Matuska.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
one was really cool.
They were really cool because they not only did like IPAs and stouts, but then they had different variations of Czech Pilsner. Where
Okay.
they're like, this one's a little bit more boozy, this one's not, or this one's slightly more malty. And
Yeah.
But then they had like kind of barbecue too, where you could get like American style barbecue, and like we shared a plate of half a chicken, and like everything was super affordable, and so like Prague was a little harder to find kind of within that kind of region we were in. There weren't a ton of craft breweries, but we still found some. But then there was so many more like the old style pubs that just had Urkel on tap.
Yeah, that's just what you're getting is Urkel.
You're
like, getting a beer, you're getting Urkel.
Yeah.
Right.
They have the Prague Beer Zoo tour, where each tavern has a different animal sigil outside the door.
Okay.
And then like you can hit all 8 of them, but you're just going for more Pilsner Urkel, which isn't bad. But
now, if you do get all 8, do you get to take home that animal? Like, it's like, do you have anything to declare?
It's a very unofficial
Me and this
tour.
muskox.
You have to get a tattoo.
That'd be actually pretty cool. It's like,
One of each of the animals.
yeah, that's really cool. I mean, sounds like a great way to kind of immerse yourself and maybe chat with some locals and figure out like what's the vibe of the town, and it just all sounds great.
Yeah.
That just really sounds cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. I think it was interesting being on the other side of the pond, right? And also on the other side of the bar, as far as being somebody who is fairly chatty as a bartender.
Sure.
I think the interaction and the experience between bartenders and servers and patrons is definitely different than it is here.
Oh, how so?
I think they were just like less inclined to be chatty
Okay.
because that's not what they're there for. Like they're there.
They're working.
They're working.
Yeah.
Yep. And then whereas we're working, when I say like we as a bartender, like we're working, and that's kind of part of the job. It's part of what you're doing.
Right.
So it was a little less than that.
Yeah, there were a couple where it was kind of like, oh, you're the only ones here. We're going to talk to you and try and sell
like in
you some more
Maastricht.
beer.
Yeah.
And Maastricht and Valhalla a little bit too.
Yeah.
But I just felt it was a different culture, or maybe they also didn't want to deal with.
Maybe they didn't want to chat with us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
That's interesting
Makes
because
sense.
I think like for me, like one of the nice things about being able to travel like for beer is like you're gonna go. I usually wind up every day when I'm on a beer trip. I'm at a brewery when they're opening.
Yeah.
And so like you've got this kind of sweet spot when you're at a brewery and it's not busy yet, where you do get to have like a little interaction, and maybe if you're lucky, you catch the brewer, and you can ask a question or two, and that's always interesting. It's interesting to hear you say that that's not the
not the experience that we had, but it might have been the time of year, the time of day, whatever, the pep in our step, like who's to say, right? But it was interesting that was kind of the experience.
Yeah. As you're kind of like looking back, I mean, it sounds like an amazing trip. I bet those 17 days flew by. As like sometimes, I don't know, like I feel like a normal week can fly by, and when you're on vacation, always goes quicker. Josh, what was one of your like surprise takeaways or things that you're like, you know what, that was really, really cool. I'm glad we did that.
I mean, like my favorite place to eat in the whole thing was the Italian restaurant in Prague. And we just happened to walk by and put our name on the list because they had reservations, and they're like, well, it might be 20 minutes. We ended up hanging out. It was only 10, and it was probably the best food, some of the best food I've ever ate.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And I think that was the biggest surprise, is just the flexibility of like, let's just see what happens. Stop in here, put our name on a list. We might not get in. We might. The same at the cocktail room in Prague as well, where they made cocktails based off of Rorschach ink blots, and you chose whatever ink blot, and that was the cocktail that they would make for you. It was a reflection of that ink blot. Yeah. And we just happened to kind of like, hey, can we get in? There's a wait. And we waited, and they're like, all right, we'll seat you. It was only 5 minutes or something. And
nice.
That was a really cool experience. But yeah, just how comfortable I think the whole trip was, where, like we said, I don't travel out. Like, I've only been out of the U.S. once to Toronto, and I was a kid, and like this is the first time really traveling, and it was very smooth and easy, and everywhere we went, it was very relaxed and
Yeah.
chill.
We were
Okay.
talking about how Parisians may be a little bit more cold. Everybody was so kind and lovely and warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like,
You could see people, like there were other foreigners on the buses like us, and all the locals were trying to help them, making sure they scanned their cards properly, or if someone was lost, or asking for what station, and they're like, no, you missed it 2 stops back, but if you get off here, you can do this and whatnot, and everyone was super helpful.
That's so refreshing. I think that's another thing in this country that we've really like lost our way with how impatient everybody is, and I'm guilty of it too. You know, you just like there's somebody like not going fast, and you're trying to get somewhere, you kind of get a little impatient. I'm like, just we need to slow things down
Right.
and just like have a little bit more empathy. And
yeah.
I think it's good that you experience that. I wish every person could experience that and just realize that, like, hey, you know, we're on this flying rock for not a very long amount of time. We if we were all a little nicer to each other, that could maybe benefit.
Maybe, it might be nice. Well, and people would even ask us for directions. It's like, I'm not really sure. But
My gut says go to the beer spa. I'd call it a crazy thing. It's like,
Go
let me
there,
hold your
everything will
pants.
be
Just get in
fine.
there.
yeah, it was, I agree. We should all just be a little bit nicer, be a little bit more patient, take a breath, have a beer.
Yeah.
And also, checking out a couple of coffee shops in Amsterdam was nice.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was fun.
That was
Yeah.
chill.
How is it? So, like, with the
Drugs.
increase, yes. So for those of you who don't know, they're not just talking about light roast, folks. What variety of things can you choose from there?
I think they had pretty much everything between edibles, flour, vape cartridges, and the like. And you just kind of pick what you want off the menu, and almost like a wine bar where they let you sniff the cork. They open a jar, you smell. Is this what you want? Yeah. How much do you want? Cool. If you need papers or whatever, they're on the table. Go for it. And
some
we'll
places
be by with if you need a coffee or a juice or a little snack, we'll come by and provide something. But
some places like that were a little bit more, they offered it a little bit more openly, like papers and a grinder and stuff. And some places were just like, you kind of had to go in and ask. But they were fine.
Yeah.
And it was lovely, and it was very comfortable. I think you can also get like mushrooms and stuff, but that's just wasn't really in our wheelhouse at that point to try to attempt. Maybe next time, a little microdosing.
That could be dicey.
But yeah, you could go and so
too much water.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so this was one of the things that sticks out to me when I went to Amsterdam. There were a couple things. One was they said they pull like 8,000 bikes out of the canals a year, and I'm like, there's a lot of people, you can get whatever you want. Literally, whatever you want in that city. And I don't know. And I was there in 2001. Maybe it's changed, but like just walking through the red light district which when you're on a trip, kind of really trying to bond with new siblings, I don't recommend a jaunt through the red light district because there's just a lot of exterior stimulation that you really that's a solo journey. I'm going to say.
Like, let's sit down on this bench for a while.
Oh, hey, what do you suppose is in there?
Well, so peek behind the curtain. We didn't even go to the red light district. It was Friday night. And we were tired. We'd been out a couple of days, we were not well into our trip, a few days into our trip. We'd gone back to the Airbnb.
The first day in Amsterdam, we were up for over 24 hours.
Oh, sure.
It was like 30 hours.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Jet lag.
Yeah. And so we went back to our houseboat and took a nap. I took a nap. And I got up at like 6, and I looked at Josh, and I was like, it's Friday night in Amsterdam. Do you want to go out? And he's like, no, not really.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the also kind of nice things to allow ourselves to just say like, no, we're not going to do all the things.
No, I just stayed in, had a couple beers, and watched Netflix on my phone, and she went back to sleep. And
It was great.
We got up early that next morning and got good breakfast. And
and got to still
early.
go enjoy our day and our time and everything.
Checked out the beautiful market there. And
I love that market.
Yeah.
Albert Kuyp Market.
Wait, what was it called?
It's called the Albert Kuyp Market. And it's a really, it's a pretty popular, sorry, am I not close enough? Should I be here? It's a very well-known, market in the city. They've got a couple of them, but that one, you've got a lot of different food vendors. You've got, goods. Yes, you've got syrup waffles, which is a syrup waffle.
Those are so good.
You got them fresh, dude. Fresh.
I mean, I don't even want to imagine. I think the
Some,
ones I get at Aldi are good.
Turkish coffee.
Dude,
Turkish coffee.
yeah. Yes,
They're
that
making
with
it.
I'm
the
gonna
Turkish
need a
coffee.
beer bath.
Yeah, exactly. But just take your stroopwafel and put it in the oven for a few minutes or something. Get that syrup in the middle, all soft and warm. You'll get similar vibes. But yeah, I mean, and it goes for multiple blocks, and it's just a kind of quintessential Amsterdam thing. And the markets are closed. They close at between 4 and 5 usually, so it's a daytime thing. But yeah, you still have a lot of other things to kind of enjoy. We stayed outside of the city center. And that was really nice in Amsterdam. So we got a little bit more of a relaxed space to go back to.
Yeah.
So we only really spent one day and night in Amsterdam, downtown tourist kind of area. And that was the night where it's we're close to the red light district. We could walk by there. And we kind of we're close, and we were just let's go to a coffee shop. And then I got really stony baloney and was okay, we have to go back to the Airbnb now because I'm going to fall asleep.
It's stroopwafel time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's really important to build in, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
And I think there's something to be said. I totally understand the idea of you use a lot of resources to get there. You don't want to feel like you're wasting time.
Get your bang for your buck.
However, if you're rested and you're in a good headspace, everything you do is going to be better than if you're jet lagged the whole time. You're just doing it to do it.
Yes.
You're not gonna allow yourself to really immerse yourself in those particular situations. You're not going to be able to sit at the bar and really just marvel at really how special an experience it is and be attuned to all the things that are going around you. I think that's important to build in but I get that. I mean, it's when I've traveled sometimes, it's Saturday night and I should be going out, but I just don't have it in me to do that. And sometimes that's when you all right, what's close? And you go have a beer and then you wind up chatting with somebody.
Yep.
And that winds up being the
Sparks
best part of the trip. And had you been beholden to this idea as getting the bang for your buck, you would have totally missed out on a really great experience.
Yeah.
So that's something for whether you're doing travel internationally, whether you're doing travel in the U.S., the best parts of a trip are those unexpected surprises.
Absolutely.
And if you're so overscheduled, you're so beholden to doing stuff, you're going to miss out on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're wasting time just worrying about an itinerary rather than living
and just doing
moment to moment. You got to realize you're not going to hit everything in every single town.
No.
And that's a reason to go back.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You don't want to. You almost don't want to do everything there is to do because then there's no desire to have a return trip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that there's some places where I've only been once, but there's some places I have been multiple times, and every time I go back, I discover something new, and I'm reminded of why I came back. That's Denver, Fort Collins. Those are two places I want to go to every 3-4 years. Because they're special to me.
Yeah.
And the people are nice, the beer's nice, the food is nice.
Let us know when you're going to go to Denver again, because I haven't been there.
Oh my God.
I know. It feels bad.
It's one of our.
That could be,
on our list.
maybe we gotta take this
Do a one
show
pint
on the
stand.
road.
Do a one pint stand on the road.
Road trippers. We're gonna create our own beer spot in the park. We'll bring a kiddie pool,
I think
a couple
they
racks
might
of
have
hams.
a beer spot in Denver.
Really?
I'll look.
See, that would be really fun. because the logistics of getting to Prague, while very enticing, will be a little bit difficult. Okay, last question. Somebody only has 24 hours to spend in any of the places you went. Where should they go and why?
24 hours in Amsterdam. Well, you'd have to go to the Albert Kite Market. I would say you go to the Albert Kite Market in the morning, get a coffee, and get something to eat.
I like that.
Yep. And then I would say you go up towards the like the main canal area, and you can go to Beercation. You can go across the canal, and you can go to Oedipus.
Oedipus is right next to Valhalla and another botanical brewery.
Yep, that one was really cool.
It's right
and
by
those
a
are
wharf.
Yes, and those are on the canal right by the wharf.
Okay.
That one was, let me see, I've got it right here. Heritage, Two Chefs, Troost, Café the Mine, Lowlander.
Lowlander.
So you go to Lowlander, and then I say you go back down into the kind of main city center area. And this is all like brewery related. There's a ton of museums. There's a really great museum.
Anne Frank House.
I've been there.
Yeah.
There's the Anne Frank House, and then you could also go, they've got the Moko Museum, they've got the Van Gogh Museum, they've got the Rijks Museum, and those are all really close together. So, you know,
Hit at least one.
Yeah, you can hit one really easily. If you want to hit more, maybe you go to one less brewery. I don't know. But then you go up into the kind of red light district area, and you've got a lot of traditional eateries there. The only thing I would say is if there's a place that you want to go specifically for food in the evening, make a reservation.
Okay.
Because there were a few places that
That's good to know.
Like we kind of walked up to, and I don't think we made any reservations.
No,
And
not for food.
No,
Yeah.
and like that is that's a little bit of a faux pas. You want to try to have reservations because then you'll be able to get in. There isn't, like, walk-ins aren't really a thing.
Okay.
If you don't have a reservation at some places, they're not getting you in, especially on a weekend evening. And like the food culture there is not so much a turn and burn. It's you sit and you have a meal for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So you really just don't have a lot of opportunity to get in. We got lucky, I think, a lot of the time. We got very lucky in terms of being able to just like walk into restaurants for dinner.
Okay.
They were very kind, very gracious when we did that. And then some places were like, yeah, we don't have room. And we just understand that. So if there's a place where you're like, I really want to get this food from here, make a reservation so you know you've got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amsterdam too. Just walk everywhere. There's so many canals, and so many
You'll find something.
beautiful old architecture and buildings and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but walk. And then I think, 24 hours in Prague, Josh, what would you say?
I mean, you might not want to go to Pilsen because that'll eat up several hours of your day. But I mean, there's so many little taverns. I just pop into any place that had beer and check that out. And what was the name of the Italian restaurant? Pasta.
Oh, I'd have to look
Fresca.
it up. I think it was Pasta Fresca. Good brain.
And that was, like I said, some of the best Italian food I've had. Like their gnocchi
Which is
was
crazy
awesome.
So good. Yeah, and I think in Prague it's very walkable. You'd have to cross the Charles Bridge.
Check out the Charles Bridge. Check out the castle, the clock.
But mostly wander. I would say wander in Prague because you're going to hit something interesting. There was a very cool cafe that had beer there that was off of the river. We did know about it. Like, it wasn't that we wandered up to it, but Avoid.
Avoid, yeah, right off the river, right on, like, the landing next to the river, and they had a giant circle glass door.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That
it rotated like a what are the swoopy doopy doors that you have to like?
Oh, like a revolving door.
Like a revolving door, but not a revolving door. It was just one glass like lens
Okay.
that.
rotated at the center.
Oh,
and
cool.
It was, like, 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
It was insane. But
And
it was a bunch of cool cocktails and
it was maybe a
beers
30 seat capacity,
Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe.
But so, like, wander,
Yeah.
go to the weird spots.
And don't like plan on like, oh, just because I got here, I got to stay here forever. Like, get a drink. This isn't my vibe.
Go to the next one.
Check out the next spot on your list and like do a little research, check it out. Like, there's so many reviews and pictures and like she said too, YouTube. I just best places to go in Prague. YouTube search.
Sure. Yeah.
Cologne, same
Well, that's the
thing.
nice thing. I mean, like 24 years ago, when I was there, your resources were print.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There were no, I mean,
You had to buy
that's the thing.
book
Like,
or
I had
brochure.
no concept of what Oktoberfest was like, but there's a bajillion reels, Instagram reels, TikTok reels of people at Oktoberfest. I'm like, oh, that's what it's like? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's so many great resources.
Now.
Chat GPT.
ChatGPT.
Like, that is a, I can't believe I'm saying that.
I asked ChatGPT, I said, plan an itinerary for this trip at these places.
Yeah.
Like just to have a baseline to go off of. It's not like I took that and, went by the book, but it helped me to organize my own thoughts a little bit.
I want to thank you both for sitting down with me to chat about your vacation. It sounds like it was a wonderful trip. And I know that people who listen to this are going to have all sorts of wonderful little nuggets and gems. One of the best ways to inspire people to travel is for them to have like a first-person account of somebody else's really positive travel experience. So I want to thank you both for sharing that with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. It was fun to revisit and talk about because, as you said, it's been a couple of months and it's nice to bring the memories kind of back up and to enjoy some of the beers that we brought back with you.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, thank you very much. This has been another episode of A One Pint Stand here at Heavy Rotation with Josh and Jessi. Cheers.
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 After hearing Josh and Jessi tell the tale of their sensational beercation to Europe, I definitely need to renew my passport and start dreaming bigger than just a beercation in the United States. I love traveling, but, if I can't do a trip myself, I take a colossal amount of joy in hearing someone tell me about their trip. I cannot thank Josh and Jessi enough for taking time to sit down with me and tell me about all the logistics, pro tips, and wonderful takeaways that they got from their epic jaunt. This episode is a perfect illustration of why I love craft beer. Craft beer brings people together. Josh and Jessi are so much fun to be around. I would not have had the joy of getting to know them had I not found my way into this fantastic network of people. They are welcome on the show anytime, and I just might have to sit down with them to plan a trip to Denver. Now, I want to give a special thank you to Marcus Dodson, Chuck Dorsey, Vicky Epper, Daniel Fisher, Todd Fitzloff, Laura Fleischfresser, Matt Holton, Cable Lefto, Ben Michaels, Sophia Masagi, Brent Newman, Bree Smith, and Sarah Cry-Valento for being Keg Standard level supporters of the A One Pint Stand Patreon. You've all shown incredible generosity, and I'm grateful for it. Cheers to you all. Now, before I go, I want to give a shout out again to the sponsor for this episode, Bumbling Fools Mead. Located just off of East Hennepin, their mead hall is cozy and welcoming. Their meads are well made and have an appeal for every palate. Make sure you follow Bumbling Fools Mead on all their socials so you can keep track of what all the buzz is about. So thank you for listening, and this has been another episode of A One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast where the pants stay on, but the caps come off. Cheers. But Paris is also the only place I've ever been where I've been shat on by a pigeon. So that also left some PTSD, psychological damage.